So if you record the session, you can go back on it for reference if you need to, and for the benefit of the couple of people who aren't here, I can send them the link to it and they can see what we're doing. So look, you're all very welcome. Yeah, the thoughts of getting back to studies for most of you now is probably a daunting prospect. Been there, done that. Although you all survived the first hurdle and did very well. So well done on that. And you're welcome back. This is a whole new ball game. Is that all right? So I'm going to start off with this is a whole new ball game, and I really hope you enjoy it. How I explain it to people is that the diploma in credit management focuses on, I suppose, credit control on the. Oh, here's Nebula now. Yeah. Aha. No. Nebula, you made it. How are you?
Morning, how are you?
You are very welcome. You are
Thank
very welcome.
thank
Great to see you. So I'm recording this session in case I didn't tell you on the way in. Just there's the one guy was just explaining you have to head off to France to a rugby match or something. I wouldn't understand, but anyway, although I will be watching tonight. So yeah. So look, you're all welcome. The advanced diploma in credit management. So in terms of the diploma, we focus on, I suppose, the nuts and bolts, on the collections, on the credit management, on risk, on international law, whatever the other subjects are, and it's focused on doing it and doing it in the best possible way. So that is what we have done, and you have all done that, and I hope that there's things that still stick with you from time to time, and you remember different approaches in different ways. And I was talking to somebody yesterday now, made my day. They're able to quote things from the notes that they live by, which is always great from my perspective. When it comes to the advanced diploma, this now is going to focus on management. So it's not just about the function. We take it, that. So there'll be very little crossover between the two subjects. So the advanced diploma focuses on management. And I suppose this is born out of a number of things. I would hope that people who are career credit people would like to see a career in management. Personally, I loved the whole management side of it. I enjoyed the credit control when I did it, and it took me a while. Changing from being a credit controller to a credit manager was probably one of the most difficult transitions I ever made. And the whole art of management. I'll honestly, hands up, admit that for the first 6 months of my management career, when I look back on it, I just cringe about how bad I was. I couldn't believe it. And what's worse, I thought I was going to die, because I was working 18 hours a day. I was working 7 days a week. I was never stopped. The pressure I was under was absolutely intense. And I wasn't getting that done. I was going backwards. And then that's when, so I didn't learn this out of pride. I learned it out of necessity. And I still thank God for, I had a wonderful tutor in the IMI, and the Irish Management Institute. And I can honestly say she saved my life, because she just taught me things and approaches and things that I needed to do and things I needed to change. And I suppose the one penny dropping moment for me was to define the difference between, when you are a credit controller, your job is to do things. And we're good credit controllers because we're good at doing things. And we're great credit controllers because we're great at solving problems. That's just in our nature. And we enjoy doing it, and we do it. That's the definition of a good credit controller. When you move to management, though, everything changes. And now the trick is you have to get the work done. That is the big change. So it's not about doing it yourself. In fact, it's definitely not doing it yourself. The job is from a management perspective is to get the work done. That's it. And the best way to get the work done is through other people. That's what management is all about. So you take responsibility for the function and the people there. And as a manager, you have to work with those guys and girls to make sure that the job is done. And as I go around different companies, excuse me, I'm choking here, I see the standard of management is pretty poor. And I'm sure you could tell me some horror stories. I'm not going to pick on any of you individually, but I'm sure you could pick on horror stories of working for bosses, and they just don't have a clue. They just don't have a clue. And, you know, and that's one of the things I blame for the high turnover of staff that we're seeing in some companies now. It's just all down to bad management. And, you know, and anywhere I go, I just see the standard of management is slipping. And I suppose I spent quite a long number of my years in management, and I'd like to think I know how to do it. And that's why, and that's what sort of prompted this course. So the select number of people who aspire to being managers, and what we will do through this course is give you the tools and everything that you need to become a great manager. Is that okay? And the route we're going to take you is not what you're expecting. All right. So let me say that right from the start. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to I just go straight into it. I said to you it'd be about an hour today. So we'll play that by ear. So we'll see how it goes. So you should see the advance. Now I will also send you the slides. So when we're finished here today, I will send you a copy of the slides that I've done, and I'll send you a link to the recording as well. So that is today. So just the welcome, setting out the ground rules. So I just want you to understand what is ahead of you, because even though it's similar to Diploma, it is different. And I just want to make sure that you know what's involved in the program. The practical credit management assignment, we'll talk about that too, and what each module. So I'll just go through very briefly each of the modules just to give you an overview and flavor of what you can expect. So that's the plan for this morning. If you have questions, stop me. There's only a small group here. By all means, you know, ask questions. The chat box, if you want to ask questions in the chat box, feel free to do that. Now, I can't see the chat box when I'm presenting, so in case you're expecting an immediate response, that ain't going to happen. So that is that. So just in terms of the three main parts of the advanced course. So you will get your weekly notes and short tests. So we've introduced, and you'll be familiar from the Diploma, the short test. So what we'll be doing is we'll be sending out a bunch of notes, and there's notes and there's audios and there's all sorts of different media that we'll be sending you. And so you get your notes and your information, and there will be a short test for each of the modules that we send you out, and that'll go out every week. And you send it back exactly the same as Diploma. You will get it on a Monday. You'll send it back the following Monday, and the thing will roll forward there as well. Within the main thrust of the material, there is 2 assignments. So I'll go through those with you. So these are assignments. You'll be familiar with those, probably similar to assignments. Just the content and subject matter is different. So that is your assignments. And then one major practical assignment. So this is, it was known in old language as practical credit management. You can call it whatever you want. You can call it a project. You can call it a dissertation. You can call it a thesis. It is a body of work that you will be prepared, that you will prepare over the next few months. Now you will get guidance, and that's that. So I'm not going to just dump a project and say, go and do that. So they are the 3 parts of the course. And I think probably, and hopefully the good news for you is that there is no final exam in this. So you get marks for your short tests, you get marks for your assignments, you get marks for your project, and those 3 marks are put together, and that is your advanced diploma. All right, so that is the structure of it. Dates. So what we are going to do is, and again, I say you don't have to take any notes on this. I will send this out to you. So these are the dates that you will receive your notes and assignments. So it is down that you get your first set of notes on Monday. I've news for you. Unfortunately, and I know you're going to feel very sorry for me, I'm actually heading to Portugal tomorrow because it's a tough life I have, and I have to go and relax for a week. So I'll actually send the first set of notes out to you today, just to get you ahead. So that is that, and then every Monday after that, you will get your notes. You submit your short tests. You'll get your assignments. We're taking a break. And I think that coincides with the midterm break and Halloween in school. So, just take a break in the middle. And the idea is that between the 10 modules of information, the 2 assignments, that you will have this part of the course all wrapped up before Christmas. All right. So that is that. So yeah, it's fairly, and the course, I suppose, is divided into 3. I'll talk about that in a minute. So that's the days you return your short tests, and that's your assignment date. So you have 2 weeks to do the assignment, 1 week for the short tests. The first assignment, now, to me, within management, there are 3 things you have to manage. You have to manage the credit function. So you have to have your technical knowledge about the function, and you have to manage the function, make sure, and the priorities are fairly clear. Credit is pretty easy. It's just get the money in. So that is that. So we have to manage the function. As a manager, we also have to manage the team that's working for us. And again, I would have a lot of counterintuitive and different ways of managing a team. And sure, I might as well tell you right now while I'm here. To me, managing a team is about managing people individually. That's what it's about. And this sort of thing, we'd have I'm a great team leader, and I'm going to bring everybody out for pints on Friday because that's the kind of mad person I am. And like, half the people will love to have pints on Friday, and half of them will just cringe and go, I have to spend all week with these people. I don't want to spend my weekends with them as well. And other people who have kids and families and husbands that are going, oh, Jenny, pints on Friday. Oh, I can't think of anything worse. So, we think we're being this great manager motivating people by, bringing them out for pints. And half the people just don't want to be there. So I think to be a really great manager, you have to relate to people on a one-on-one basis. So it's about managing individuals. So, and once we manage the individuals, from that we'll create a team, and a highly functional team. Maybe not the kind of team that goes for pints on Friday, a kind of team that gels together, works together, covers each other's backs. And the fact that I'm terrible at spreadsheets doesn't matter, because you're a genius at spreadsheets. So we complement each other, and we get the best out of each other. And that's what I'm talking about, managing the team. All right. Then probably the controversial one, and this is where the course starts. So that's that. Managing yourself. If you cannot manage yourself, you cannot manage other people. And I have found the worst managers I have ever worked for are guys and girls who are totally out of control. They're just all over the place. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know where they're at. They just all over the place. They are an absolute disaster from top to bottom. And those kind of people, can do more damage in organizations than good. So if you are going to put yourself in a position where you're going to manage other people, the first person you have to start with is yourself. And you have to get in control of what you're doing and how you're doing it and all that kind of stuff. And that's the area that we're going to focus on in the first few modules of the course. And some of it will, you think, Jane, am I reading a self-help book here, or what am I at? Maybe there's some of that in it. I just hope you find it interesting, and I hope you find it beneficial. Are you going to do it all? Probably not. If you take 2 or 3 or half a dozen things out of the course and implement it, and it has a positive impact on your daily work and your approach and your attitude and your results, then as far as I'm concerned, it's all worthwhile. So they are your 2 assignments, your 10 short tests. And then yeah, well, you will have them because you got the notes for this, so that's fine. Notes and assignments sent. Yeah, and if you want to change email addresses, just drop me a note and I can update. If you want a Gmail or something instead of your work one, that's fine too. That's that. Oh yeah, sometimes within the notes I recommend exercises. They'll be clearly marked as recommendation. They're not for marking, they're not for submitting. I am going to ask you questions. There is questionnaires and quizzes. That's purely for your own benefit, to to help you sort of discover who you are and what you are and what makes you tick. So so the additional exercises are recommended. We're not going to ask you to share any secrets or any of that kind of stuff. I am here, and I just want you to know that even if it's course related, work related, staff related, whatever it is, while you are doing this course and even beyond, I am here to help, and I'm quite happy. I've been there, I've done that, and I'm happy to help people. So if there are issues that you need help with, pick up the phone, drop me an email, say, Dec, and if we have to block off half an hour to have a chat, I'm quite happy to do that. As be it course related, work related, management related, job related, whatever, that resource is there, and I'm always happy to help. And I mean that, I'm not just saying it. I'm one of these sad credit people, so that's just me. That is that. Dates. Now, what we are doing is we're getting together here today as the sort of overall introduction. You'll get your notes today and then the following Monday, so you'll be into the notes. The project workshop, we're going to get together for one more Saturday in the middle of October. And I know I've kind of sprung this on you. Again, that's fair enough. If you can make it, that would be great. Again, if you can't, we'll be recording it like this and we'll send you on the link. And what the 14th of October is all about is this will be a morning with a man called Paul Nolan. And Paul is an experienced credit manager. He's been working, back to institute days for probably the last 20 years or so. He has been working on the education thing with us. And one of his real things that he loves is this whole assignment and project and all that good stuff. And what he is going to do is he's coming along at 10 o'clock on the 14th, and to go through how you structure it, how you start it, how you decide what you're going to work on. So the project is a work-related project that you undertake, and it'll look at something that needs improvement, something that needs addressing, whatever. And the whole purpose of it is, I suppose, to raise your profile at management level within the company, that they see who you are and that you're going above and beyond for just the day job. And as I say, Paul will help you with your research and with your everything that you need to do in terms of structuring and all the different elements in it. So he's going to go through that on the 14th of October at 10 o'clock. And the handout that I included with the agenda for today, it's a pretty grubby scanned PDF, but anyway, we might sharpen that up between now and then. It just sets out what's involved in this project, and Paul will be going through that with you on the 14th of October and let you know. And this is one of the most satisfying, it can be daunting at the start, and when people get into it, this is the bit that they love most about the course. So that is that. And the good news is that we were sort of starting that element on the 14th of October. You have 3 full months to do it, and your project submission date is the 19th of January. So, and that also gives you an excuse not to chat to your friends at Christmas if you need to. Anyway.
Sorry, Declan, can I just interrupt you there a second?
Please do.
On the actual form that you sent via the email, it said we had to email Paul, I think was it the 7th of October, the title of the project?
Well, you see,
Or did I read that incorrectly?
no. Now,
Or am I
no,
jumping
no.
ahead of what you're presenting?
No, you're not. You are pointing out something that I missed. So thank you for that. No, what we will do, the subject is that date is wrong. And actually, the first time I sent it out, I think there was a 2022 date on it as well at the end. Now, I did cop that and change it in what I sent you yesterday. No, what will happen is we'll have the workshop on the 14th of October, and you'll have 2 weeks from that date to submit your title. All right, so
Thanks.
it is incorrect, as is the December 22. So we've pushed it out now till the 19th of January 24, and it'll be structured, organized, start, middle, and end, and hopefully a conclusion at the end.
Declan, sorry.
Yeah.
Do you need to be able to use PowerPoint or
No.
that for the project? Because I haven't a clue how to use it.
Oh God, no, you don't. Well,
You need a bit, I suppose. Well, I have a son that's very good on computers. He'll be around.
Right,
You know.
send him up and he'll collect the diploma.
No, I
I mean,
wouldn't.
so you don't tell us, we won't know. No.
Right.
And again, this is not a techie course at all. So whether you do, your project in Word, in PDF, in whatever format that you want to do it, no, PowerPoint is not. I mean, we never require a particular package or a particular, but no PowerPoint. And look, if you love PowerPoint and you can do it real well, yes, you can do it on that. If not, that's fine. So it's not about the structure; it's about the content.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the 14th of October. That's the next step. And I say you have till the 19th of January. Now, if you want to wrap it up before Christmas, that's fine. If not, that's the end date. And that then will give us time. I think the graduation ceremony that you're probably familiar with from the old days, that will happen in March. I think we've picked the date already. I think it's the 20th of March, 2024. And we'll have a big bash and wine and finger food and all that good stuff, and photographers and caps and gowns and things. So that's going to happen. So you'll be ready for that. So that is the project detail. So it's 6,000 words. I know it might look like a lot on a page. Once you get into it, probably cutting it back to 6,000 will be your problem as well. And then Paul Nolan is the man. And hopefully you'll like Paul. He's very knowledgeable and he's good at this stuff. So that is that.
Second.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you. Is there a possibility you could submit like a draft submission just for a review to see how it looks?
100%.
Yeah, okay. Perfect.
Yeah, 100%. And you'll be touching base with Paul at every step of the way. So, and the first thing is obviously agreeing the title with him. So you'll have 2 weeks from the 14th of October to pick a title. And because I suppose he's been around so long, he'd say, look, it sounds like a meaty topic. Once you get past the first 2 paragraphs, you'll find you've run out of material. So he'll be able to advise you on finding something that is doable and researchable and all that kind of stuff. And absolutely, send in drafts, ideas. And I say Paul is the main man. I'm happy to help almost as a lay person in this, because I've always left that area to Paul. He is the man as far as I'm concerned. But as I say, if you want a second or third opinion, I'm happy to run stuff by before you submit it. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. And Declan, sorry, is there anywhere prior to the 14th of October that we could view? I'm not saying dissertations for credit, but just even to get an idea of what one looks like. I've seen, I've read your spreadsheet, but I've never actually done anything like this before. But just even to get an idea of the flow of one,
Oh yeah, no. Look, let's put this out of your mind until the 14th of October.
All right, okay.
Because that's when the world starts with the project. Paul will have samples and all that kind of stuff of assignments that I've done to show you the kind of standard that we're looking for. So,
okay, great.
I'm just giving you the heads up now. Park that until the 14th of October, and then and we will have samples, and we will have. And I must say, it's something that I always, and it's at this time of year I feel guilty, and then 2 weeks later I get over it. you know, there's such great information in so many of these dissertations. You know, having them sitting in a press or in a filing cabinet, as they say in the ad, it's probably information that other people could benefit from, with the permission of the authors to put it into the public domain. And every year I say it, and every year I do nothing about it, but maybe someday the penny might drop. So
We
anyway,
can contact him, Declan, anytime we want, then within reason, you know.
within reason, yeah. Paul is
Mm.
on the hand, yeah, and that's what he does.
I'd be no good at essays or that sort of thing. It's kind of daunting, but I'm sure he'll help us well. Me well.
Yes, absolutely. And you know, so you might focus on, you know, the research or the data or something of that nature, if, you know, writing isn't your thing. And that's the great thing about people. Everybody's different, and everybody has different talents. So that's that. So Paul is, yeah, you'll find Paul great.
Okay.
And there's our email addresses as well. So that's, yeah. Paul has his own business, AR Solutions. It's a collection agency on the north side of Dublin. So that is Paul. So that is the emails, queries, and questions. 2 assignments. So from a marks perspective, you get 10% for each assignment. So that's 20%. You get 22% each for the short test. So that's another 20%. And then you get 60% of the marks for the dissertation. So between the short test and assignments, you know, you can be up to 40%, and then the final dissertation 60%. And when we aggregate the 3 sections, you have to get an overall 50%. And again, if you stick with it, submit the tests, assignments, and project, that is very, very doable. And I'm hoping that you'll enjoy it, and you'll want to do the work, and you'll want to learn the stuff, and you'll find it beneficial. That is the whole point of it. And then from a marking structure, you're probably familiar with this. So 80 is a distinction, over 60 is a merit, and over 50 is a pass. So when you get your letters, it will say distinction, pass, or merit, or whatever. So that is that. So any questions on any of that stuff, or have I dealt with them all? So it's sort of full on now. And look, guys, the same rules apply as with the diploma. I am the tutor. This is so important for me. I'm not letting anybody else into this. This is an important thing for me. That's why when it comes to the advanced diploma, well, Paul gives you to get with the project. With the subject, this is something that I find personal. So I am the tutor on the subject, and I want to, you know, be with you every step of the way to get you over the line. So that is that. So quite happy to do that. So I'll just quickly go through the modules, the 10 modules that we have within the course, just to give you an overview of what to expect. So managing yourself.
Screen, Declan.
What?
Are you have you PDF?
Yeah, I can see it. Sorry. Yeah. Great.
I'm better at visual.
Good. Well, there it is now. So what we're starting with is managing yourself, and to me, that is probably the most important thing you can do in life. All right, is to manage yourself. The only thing that you can control are your own thoughts when you think about it, and it's probably the only thing that you should ever endeavor to control. So that is that. So I'll go through, and I've lots of, I hope they're interesting exercises for you in terms of just attitude, how you look at things. So it's not about what's happening to you, and that's something that we have to get. So your attitude is what defines everything. So, you know, it's not what's happening, it's how you perceive what is happening. Do you get that? So we're great at judging things as good or bad, or, you know, whatever. That's something that we need to switch off in our own brains, because everything just is, and it's our attitude in terms of how we look at it, and to hopefully bring solution-based focuses to situations rather than looking for problems, looking for issues and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, I'm going to spend this first module in terms of attitude and mindset and focus. You might recall, I think it's the only time I refer back to the collections notes. The part of the collections notes back in the day, we said, you know, that you get what you focus on 100% of the time and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to bring that to a whole new level here in terms of honing your power of focus, in terms of making sure that you're focusing on the right things and not focusing on the wrong things. And just what I want more than anything else from this first module is just to give you action points, actionable things, just change the way you look at things. And there's an extract from a book I found helpful, and this is going to challenge your open-mindedness now, I'll tell you that for nothing. I don't know whether anybody's ever heard of a book called The Greatest Salesman in the World. I was written back in the 60s or something. I've included a clump of that in there as well. So just, guys, read it with, and you might say, oh, I'm not a salesman and I'm not a whatever. Just read the words and see how they apply. And I have found it's one of the things that I have found very helpful over the years, just to get my own head in the right place when I need to. So that is self-management. Then the second thing then is about goal setting and achievement. Now, I know we've done all this stuff, but look, if you are going to be a manager, you have to set goals, you have to achieve goals, you have to hit milestones. And the best way to do it is yourself, because we do this stuff in the office. We tend not to apply it to our personal lives. And why not? Why not set personal goals for ourselves? So what do we want? Remember that question? So what do I want? So what do I want for me? What do I want here? What do I want there? So this is in terms of written goals and visualization and affirmation. So it's just, and this quadrant 2 is, you know, this is what's not urgent but important. So it's the jobs that you have. So categorizing your jobs into what's urgent and important, or not urgent and not important. And then quadrant 2 is important but not urgent. And that's where we spend less of our time, and that's where we should be spending more of our time. So by sort of explaining to you what it is and how it works, I'm hoping then that it will increase the quality of what you're doing as well. And goal setting is great. I just think, from a personal perspective, from a work perspective, from a job perspective, we set goals and we achieve them. And that's what this module is about. And on a personal level, guys, sometimes the goal is wrong. And like, if I set a goal for August and I don't achieve it, and I set the same goal for September and I don't achieve it, then the goal is wrong. Because surely if it was something that I wanted, I would have done in 2 months. So if I haven't done it, there's something wrong, either with me or with the goal. So rather than beating yourself up, and that's something that I want to stop you doing straight away, change the goal. So we look at this, and this is interesting stuff as well. So now we're going to be in control. We set goals. Time management, and this is now where I get into it. So this is where we're mentioning the urgent and important. So much time, we waste so much time doing things, you know, what I think, if I remember the notes, it says that, you know, so much time in work is wasted doing very well things that needn't be done at all. We're just doing things because we've always done them. So it's just about looking at what we're doing, and I suppose standing back and asking the questions: why am I doing this? What's the reason for that? You know, where is this going to bring me on the journey? Blah blah blah. So that's that. Do lists. Notice, not to-do lists, because if it's something to do, you might or might not do it. If it's a do list, then that's something you do. Monkeys and frogs, love these. These are my favorite stories. So I'm going to great lessons in time management, that I hope, and the monkeys in particular saved my life from a management perspective, what I learned about that. 80-20 rule, again, you're probably aware of that, you know, that, you know, 80% of your results come from 20% of your effort. So it's focusing on the high value stuff that, you know, means that you're not stressing out trying to do everything. And then time management from a work perspective, meetings are probably the greatest time waster of all. So we'll give you some tips and hints in terms of managing meetings, controlling meetings, and getting the best out of meetings. So if you can manage yourself and manage your attitude and manage your goals and your success and your time management, now you're getting there. And then the fourth and final installment into managing yourself is building confidence. So, just to build up your confidence, stop giving out to yourself, stop beating yourself up, stop being critical of yourself. And there's a few others, and obviously this comparing yourself to others, that's one of the biggest no-nos from a personal perspective, and one that causes so much pain to people. And once we build our confidence as well, now we're prepared to face anybody head on in the world, and we are not above or below anybody on the planet. So they're the 4 modules on managing yourself, and I hope that having finished those 4, that you're certainly at a higher level, you're more in control, you've clearer vision, and you know what you're doing and where you're going and what you want and what you don't want and what you can control and what you can't control. And there's loads of that too, and just accepting what's there. So that's that. And when you finish those 4 modules, then you get your first assignment on managing yourself. Then we move on to the team management. And here, and I said this to you, to me, management, people use leadership and management interchangeably, and so much corporate focus is on leadership and leadership training. And people have asked me, Declan, do you deliver leadership training? And I say no, and I won't, and I never will. So go away. And I have an honest belief that when it comes to leadership in any organization, there can only be one leader. Otherwise, we've chaos. If we have a whole army of leaders going around the place, because by definition, they're going to lead people into different ways. So that's not what it's about. So leadership is about, the masses. It's about the people. Management, to me, is one-on-one. So if I am your manager, it's a one-on-one relationship. So you are clear as to what you need to do, what it is expected of you in work, that you have the tools that you need to do the work, you have the support, we have the processes, the procedures. So I am managing an individual. And of course, I know individuals are complex and they have personal lives and outside lives and all that kind of stuff. So it's my job as a manager to understand the person, what makes them tick, where they can make the biggest contribution to the organization, and then work around that. So when it comes to managing individuals, and this stuff like finding talents, something that so many managers just fail to do, and it upsets me, that we have people wasting their time in organizations. And sometimes when I'm talking to senior management at conferences and things, I start the conference with 2 questions. And the first question is, are you under pressure to achieve more and more with less and less? And they all go, yeah, that's me. And then I ask a question. So do you think that each of your people are working to the maximum, are using all their talents and working to the maximum of their capabilities? And they all go, no, definitely not. And then I sort of say, well, look, could the solution to the first one be the solution to the second one? That if we could unlock their talents, if we could unlock their strengths, that could be the solution to being under pressure to get everything done. And believe it or not, it is, if you know where to look for it. And part of what we're going to do in this module is show you where to look for it, show you how to be one-on-one with your staff and be able to communicate with them. Look, of course, there's going to be jobs people don't like. That's just life. So I'm not going to, I'm not their counselor or bring forth their inner child or any of that sort of stuff. I am going to get the best out of them, and that's really what it's all about. And I kind of want to be that manager in years to come. When you look back, you go, God, I loved working with them. They got the best out of me. And That's what I want your staff to be saying about you in a number of years' time, so that you know how to manage the individuals. Dharma is a concept. I'll deal with that. There's different variations of it. I have a specific meaning for it, and I want you to read those notes, so I'm not going to tell you. Management. Yeah, now this is going into teams. So we go into the team components. So, a team has to have a number of different elements for it to work properly. And we need to define, and when I'm talking about team roles here, I'm talking about sort of not functions, credit functions. I'm talking about, each person has a different role within the team to make the team complete. And once you know what they are and assign those roles to each individual, you find you have a cohesive and high functioning team. And that's really what it's all about, a high performance team where everybody is an individual, they're valued for who they are and what they are. And knowing that everybody brings their own talents to the table, my job as a manager is to maximize those talents for the benefit of everybody else. And this element of pride is something I see missing in a lot of work today, and it upsets me. To have pride in your work, pride in your team, pride in, we have pride in our counties when it comes to GAA, but that's probably as far as it goes. And in team management, I have to go into the management principles, and I kind of apologize for this, in terms of the Maslow's and all these ancient history guys. If you're studying management for an advanced diploma, you have to know that these guys exist and what they're saying. So Hertzberg and Mintzberg and all those kind of good chaps, just to give you a background. So that's the only sort of heavy kind of stuff. It's background knowledge. You can fly through this and you're not expected to remember it all. That's the good part about it. Just to be aware of it. Now, when it comes to managing the function, now we get back into the function. So it's in terms of the collections, setting targets, looking at allocations, looking at the control and integrity of the ledger, dealing with stuff, reporting, preempting problems, and whereas credit controllers achieve targets, managers set the target. So where do we set the target that's achievable, challenging, and brings the whole organization to where it wants to go? So it's kind of a cut off. So we need to know how to manage the function as well. Reporting, huge reporting. And to be honest with you, if we do this right, when we're reporting up to senior management, this is one of our greatest allies. And we get to pick what we report on. So I like this. There's a whole module all onto itself in terms of customizing reports, finding your KPIs, and getting buy-in from the senior guys, which is good as well. Then internal reporting. So this is among your own teams and other teams and all the rest. So I need to be keeping them informed as to what's going on in the world, because credit to me is all about good communications, and these and stuff like credit note analysis and stuff that becomes a public document, because it's the other departments who are creating the credit notes by not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and that's what's causing most of the grief for me as well. So that has to be high on my priority to eliminate these and get everything right first time, as per the credit management module back in the diploma. So that's that. And then exposure, just understanding the concept of exposure in terms of how much you can get caught for. And now that we're in inflationary times at the moment, which is probably the first time in 30 years we're seeing inflation, and this inflation now is putting pressure on existing lines of credit within business, because even though the volumes haven't really gone up because the prices are going up, it's putting pressure on the credit lines. So it's something that we just need to know how to do in the current environment as well. Managing boundaries. This is again back to management as well. So if you're a credit manager, there is little or no conflict on the credit management, because that's what you do. You open the accounts, you set the accounts, you do, so you manage the credit. Where you're going to have conflict within an organization is on the periphery, on the boundaries, where credit meets finance, where credit meets marketing where credit meets sales. So it's on the boundaries between sales and credit where all the problems happen. And I suppose recognizing those boundaries and managing them properly will reduce the amount of friction and problems as well. So that's something just to make you aware of and show you how to manage those as well. So that's the boundaries. High risk accounts, again, if you're in a credit management position, we have to be aware of these high risk guys. So somebody owes you £500,000 and they're in Dubai and the figures aren't looking good. How do I make sure that my company is going to walk out of this no matter what happens? And yet maybe it's credit insurance, maybe it's go and visit them, maybe it's security. There's loads of different ways. So this is kind of a jigsaw of different tools that you have to minimize your exposure to high risk accounts, so you can continue to do business with them and sleep at night at the same time, which is pretty good. And that's it. They're the 10 modules that brings you, from yourself, from your people, from your team, and then the function. And if you get those 3 things right, to be honest with you guys, you get everything right. So I think I've spoken enough now at this stage. What I'm going to do, not to inhibit you, because anybody who wasn't here will get all the information that they want. So what I am now going to do is once I find it, is stop recording.